Are you in the market to buy or sell a home? In this video, I'm going to walk you through the steps involved in creating a comprehensive checklist of things to expect in the home that you're potentially buying or selling to give you the best possible outcome. By the way, my name is Aguinaga. You're a Montreal real estate broker. I love to help people buy, sell, invest, or relocate to Montreal. I've been living here for the greater part of my life, and I'm an expert in all things real estate in the Montreal area. Home inspections are like a health checkup for your property. They're a crucial part of the process. They give you an idea of the current state of the property, what needs to be addressed today in the next couple of years, and what you need to keep an eye on for the future. Now, let's break down the steps to create your ultimate home inspection checklist. Research and choose the inspector. Now, this is a critical part of the process. You want to make sure that you're working with somebody who's knowledgeable, not only about inspecting as a whole, but specifically properties like yours, your neighborhood. Every single neighborhood has its own type of nuances, and you want to make sure that they can account for these things. You want to make sure that they're insured, and you want to make sure that they come well referred. So you can look for reviews online. You can get referrals from different friends of yours or people maybe that you're working with. This is honestly one of the most important parts of the entire process. Scheduling the inspection. You want to make sure to do the inspection on a day where there is a lot of sunlight, so during the day, not at the evening, and at a time where we're really going to be able to access and see all the different parts of the property. If the inspector can't see it because it's a visual inspection, you're really not going to get the most benefit from working with somebody. Gather the necessary documents. It's super important to provide the future buyer with any documentation you have. If you've done maintenance to the property, if you've done renovations to the property, if there are transferable warranties potentially, the more documentation you can provide, the better you're going to be doing in terms of the sale. Preparing the property. Now, it's the day before the inspection, and you want to make sure to prepare the property for the actual inspection. Well, what you can do is, first of all, you can clear out all the areas that the inspector is going to need access to. So typically, these are going to be areas like the maintenance room that you might be using as storage as well, access to the crawl space, access to the attic. A lot of the time, these are doors that we don't really use often, and we usually have blocked off with extra stuff. So by moving that, we're going to make sure that we have an actual faster inspection, and it's be smoother for everybody. Attend the inspection. Whether you're the buyer or the seller, it's super important to be around and be available. As the buyer, you want to be following the inspector around in order to see what he's talking about, the comments he's making, and a lot of the time during the inspection, they're going to give you more candid commentary. In the actual inspection report, it's going to be a lot more black and white, a lot more aggressive verbiage is going to be used. As a seller, if you're there, you can answer questions or give explanations on the spot. If you're accessible, we can ask you questions like, hey, was this repaired, or what happened over here, or do we have any context for this? Because during an inspection, we almost have a snapshot of the current property's condition, but we don't know what led to this or if anything's been done since. Now, let's dive into building a little checklist as a buyer for the actual inspection day. Certain things that you're going to have more questions on, or that you should take the opportunity of being with a certified inspector to learn more about. Structural integrity. You want to ask the inspector questions about the foundation. Do you notice any cracks? Do you see anything happening of that nature? Do you see any beams that might be rotting a little bit? Was there an old fire that happened in the property? Was there a leak that has caused mold on some of the beams or some of the structure as well that could lead to really damaging the integrity of it? This is one of the most important parts of the property. The electrical systems. You want to make sure that the property has solid electrical systems. And what I mean by this is you want to understand, do we have newer electrical, older electrical? Has the electrical panel been updated? Do we have a piecemeal, maybe some old wiring in some sections and some newer wiring in different areas? This could potentially pose a risk to you and to the property. So you want to ensure you understand what you're working with. The inspector will typically open up some of the switches to give us an idea of what the electrical wiring behind the walls looks like. Plumbing. You want to make sure that we get a good understanding of the plumbing. Have the pipes been changed? Are we dealing with copper, with PEX? Are we dealing with some of the things that we don't want to be dealing with because of problems in the past? Do you want to scope out the main drains? Do we need to bring a plumber in to send a camera down to see what does the main drain look like, the connection to the city? A lot of the times there's trees out front of our properties, and we want to ensure that there's no roots growing into our drain that will potentially block it down the road. Heating and cooling. HVAC is one of the most important systems of the property. You want to know if they've maintained it recently, did they change it recently, or has it not been serviced in the last 10 years? This means that there might be a large service coming up for the property. So you want to ensure that the inspector takes a good look at the HVAC system of the home. Installation and ventilation. Now, in Montreal, because of our extreme weather conditions, we want to ensure that we have really good insulation in our homes to avoid having these crazy heating bills. At the same time, we need good ventilation because our homes are so closed. In an ideal world, you have an air exchange system. But if not, in your crawl space, you still want to make sure that we have air passing through, whether that's through an opening at the front and the back, a window, something of that nature, so we don't really have this stale air growing, the potential bacteria down there. Appliances and fixtures. While you're there, take advantage of the time to test the appliances. Turn on the stove, open the fridge quickly, potentially run the dishwasher for a second, check the washer and dryer. If these things are included in the sale, you want to understand what condition they're in. It's also a really good idea to grab the serial numbers for all of them and see if there's been any recalls on any of these things. Now, in terms of fixtures, are the ceiling fans working? Do all the light fixtures work properly? These things are pretty minor, but if we can prevent them and actually have the seller take care of them, it's a win-win for everybody. Safety features. We've talked about it in other videos, but you want to make sure that the smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide detectors on the home are working. You want to ensure that they're actually present, because in some homes you actually don't have them. These are super important basic features of a home, but that you want to test while you're there to make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. Just because you see it there doesn't mean that it's working. A comprehensive inspection can help uncover hidden defects of the property. This is here to give you peace of mind and to give you a further understanding of what you're buying. It's a very large investment that you're making, and you want to make sure that it's protected the best way possible. Remember, a well-prepared inspection report saves both the buyer and seller headaches down the road. What other things do you consider important and would have your inspector check out? Please comment down below.